I'm on a quest to build the entire Wildbrain Seasons of Ninjago with only $0. Today we're building Ninjago's 11th season, the Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Will this be another great episode, or as big of a failure as this season was? Let's find out. So now let's see what we can do to build these figures. For Kai, I actually have the correct torso, but it didn't come with the right headpiece, so I'll replace it with the legacy one instead. It just lacks a symbol. I also have Kai FS, which is supposed to be Kai performing Forbidden Spinjitzu, but this figure is actually non-canon. Kai never performs Forbidden Spinjitzu in the show, but it's interesting to notice how the leg pieces are the same. For his custom weapon, I'll take a dragon handle, a red stud with a hole, golden sword, and the bottom stud of an antenna piece. We can slide it on and we have a good weapon. Next up we have Jay. I have a total of 3 figures, but none of them seem quite right. Tournament Jay is sleeveless, but the suit in the show is quite tight. Stone Armor Jay is too armored, so let's just use Fusion Jay. I'll replace his head wrap with a proper one. Now for the nunchucks, we'll need to do some building too. I'll take a dragon handle, attach the golden chain and 2 blue studs on the ends, and a brick built golden hook blade because I don't have the actual piece. And now with those 2 figures done, we can do Cole. I only have 1 Cole figure that could almost pass, but it feels lazy to just use a wholesale Cole minifigure. So what I used to do is to replace the arms on this foot soldier from Ninja Turtles with minifigure yellow arms to give Cole a sleeveless look. I know I said not to take out your minifigure arms in my very popular video from last year, but let's see if it's actually possible. So I'll carefully take the arms off Tournament Kai, and with a bit of luck, we did it. This time we'll give Cole some armor and his hairpiece. We could also build his new hammer with bricks to complete the set. And moving on, let's go to Zane. I'll take his movie outfit and core legs to match the actual figure suit as best as I can. Then we can give him 2 golden shurikens, which is what he actually uses in the sets. Next for Nia, I'll just use the movie figure because it's the only grey figure I have, and as usual, a custom weapon. This time she has a spear. And finally for Lloyd, the last ninja, we'll just use the outfit we always have been, with a golden katana and a black tassel. And now our ninja team is done. It actually looks really cool with all their custom accessories. But now let's build the villain of the season, which is Asphira. She's a snake that learned Spinjitzu, but there's really not anything else interesting about her motivations at all. She has a special orange leg piece in the sets from Narakan the Jin. So to make this, let's use bricks too. I'll stack orange and yellow translucent pieces to recreate that fire effect, and it does the job pretty well. I'll give her Kai's Forbidden Spinjitzu torso, because not only does it have golden arms, but Asphira actually takes Kai's powers in the show, so that's symbolic. And for her headpiece, I'll have to use a snake head from a core set, because it's the only one I have. And with our main team and villain done, we can now make one more relevant side character, which is Clutch Powers. He's the first minifigure ever to be on film, but in Ninjago, he's an explorer that's important later on. He has a brown suit and an eye patch, so I'll use the suit of this robot cowboy from the Lego movie, the face from a shark thug from the Ninjago movie, and Lloyd's hair piece because it's exactly the same mold but just in a different color. Now we can move on to the build. I actually myself have 1 set from this wave already. It's a double Spinjitzu slam pack with a samurai from the second half of the season and Kai FS, which is non-canon, and it's actually really fun. But we also get 3 forbidden scrolls, just like in every set. We have a powered down one, an ice one, and a fire scroll. But only the fire scroll is important for today's build. I want to recreate the pyramid that the ninja explore in the first part of the season. It's Asphira's prison, which they accidentally let her out of. And it's a typical Indiana Jones kind of thing. Let's start off with a simple trap build, which the ninja encounter a lot of in the episodes. I'm taking inspiration from this tournament set. We can build some rock pillars and a bridge using tread pieces. And if we place an axle underneath, it holds the bridge up. But if we pull the axle out, the bridge collapses. It's fully retractable and pretty fun to put your minifigures in danger. Now moving on, let's actually build Asphira's tomb with what we have. Let's start off at the front that has a giant pillar that they need to get past. I'll build my own pillar with some Technic bricks and some regular sand bricks. It's really loose and can fall down for some more play features. Then let's build a square entranceway. We can put this anachondrite disc on top because it's a similar color and has a snake design on it. Next, let's build the actual doorway to the tomb itself. In the show, it's a complex square puzzle, but here we can make a much simpler mechanism. I've got this trapdoor piece, and it's held in place by a 2x4 tile. If we remove the tile, the entire trapdoor opens downwards due to the gravity. And we can put Asphira behind it so that the door opens with very dramatic effect. And then, let's add some chains on the ceiling which Asphira uses to tie up the ninja. The Netherrealm is an icy place in the world of Ninjago, and today I'll be building all of the ninjas' adventures there from Season 1, including their mechs, allies, locations, and villains. Will this be a success or a failure, as the ninja go up against an enemy who might just be one of their own? Enough said, let's go. So this is actually the second part of Season 11, where the ninja are banished to the Netherrealm after the events of the first half of the season, which was the fire chapter. And now, with no way back, the ninja have to navigate the icy landscape to find a warm place before they freeze completely. So to match the snowy terrain, let's use this white piece of paper, which we can build everything on top of. Here I have my custom ninja lineup of the Season 11, and now we can start building our first location. So eventually the ninja are rescued and come across this ice village, which is the only place with living inhabitants. So first, to build one of the houses of this village, we're going to need some brown bricks because most of the houses are made of wood. I mean, it looks grey in the show, but I'm pretty sure it's wood, so let's use brown. Now the house itself actually does look a bit boring, so I'm going to need to take some inspiration. And I've actually got this little wooden section from my custom building I'm making, and I think I'll follow the design of this. Now I am running low on brown pieces, so I'm going to need to use a white base and then build up as much brown texture as I can on top. This technique is pretty neat, and now we can add some depth to the build using some snot techniques to add some plates to cover up the side. Now let's add a roof which is slightly angled and has some snow on it, and then we can use this clip to angle the roof down, and we have a pretty legit looking snow house which the ninja can use to keep warm and safe from the harshness of the elements outside. Oh yeah, and also in this season Kai loses his fire power, so he spends a lot of time reflecting on life. Okay, but the ninja can't rest for long because they soon learn about the Ice Emperor, an evil tyrant over the Netherrealm who caused an eternal winter and actually froze a lot of civilizations ice solid. They're worried that the Ice Emperor is going to attack their village next, so Lloyd has to set out on a journey to find him, while the rest stay behind in the village to protect it. Now, I've given Lloyd a backpack to prepare him for his journey, but his head is in a really weird angle. Now, Lloyd has to be fully prepared and at the top of his game for this, so I'll give him this sack instead. And when he wears it, he can actually fit a sword behind his back if you force the sword piece behind it and sandwich it in between the two pieces. Now Lloyd can carry all the supplies he needs and he's ready to set out on his journey, until he meets some complications. These are the Ice Emperor's soldiers, also known as the Blizzard Warriors, and they've been given ice powers from the Ice Emperor after he took over the previous dynasty. They're really intimidating actually, and I quite like the minifigures, believe it or not, because they're really detailed, have dual molded accessories, and shiny printing on their faces. They even have elemental ice powers. Lloyd almost gets frozen a few times, and eventually after much struggle he is able to overcome them and continue on his journey. The next part of the story is a bit complicated, but eventually Lloyd discovers in the Netherrealm one of the ninja mechs which was banished along with them. He had lost it at first, but it would help Lloyd greatly in his journey, so he decided to power it up and fix it. The mech was in great condition, so it would be really useful for traversing long distances and fighting off enemies. Yeah, there's this really long sequence in the show where Lloyd fights this giant bird who's trying to eat him. But it's one of the more meaningful ways that a mech was used in the show. Now, they did make a set for this, and it's a Titan mech, the first of its kind actually. I don't have that many pieces to spare, so I'm gonna build it at a smaller scale, matching the Evo mechs. Here we have the pieces from Zane's Evo mech, and I'm going to reuse them to build Lloyd's mech at a mini scale. So here we're going to start using some brackets to build up the main body of the mech, and this was really fun because we needed to be able to fit a minifigure inside still. He's also able to use a lot of interesting techniques with the small pieces to build up the details around the mech that were in the original. We can build up the head now, and I use this interesting technique to put the 1x3 right in front of the 1x2 clip, as well as the same 1x2 gold piece from the original. Now Lloyd's mech uses this really nice sand green color, which is pretty rare, so I'm going to take them from my Cole's Earth Driller set. Incorporate them wherever I can. We can add shoulder pads, the arms, a rotating waist section with the legs, the wings at the back, and finally our mech is done. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, subscribe please. Much appreciated. And in the end, we have this really nice looking mech at an Evo scale, which didn't take much pieces, can still fit a minifigure, has a rotating waist section using some clever Technic pins. And it's really cool how this all turned out because it's at the same scale as an Evo mech, and I really like it. In fact, because you're building at such a small scale, you can make better use of your own creativity and imagination to use the small pieces to create the details that you need on the original mech. It's a really good and affordable challenge that I'd highly recommend that you try it yourself. Okay, but let's move on to the next build, which is the Ice Emperor's castle. So of course this emperor needs to have a castle of his own with those giant ice spikes. And we're gonna start off with a blue base plate. Now I'm going to use this technique for the stairs at the front. Use some math to layer these pieces on top of each other sideways, and we get this nice and thin gradual staircase. But now we can continue to build up the rest of the foundations of the palace. We can hide Zane's mask in there because he's missing. Next I'll use these rounded car pieces to add some more texture to the sides of the builds. We can build up the walls and add a jail cell, which every Ninjago set needs. We can continue building up on top to cover up the empty space with the Ice Emperor's throne, as well as this oriental gate at the back, which I copied directly from the TV show. You can go check it out yourself. And we can finish off the staircases with this hinged piece and this technique that I used in my Seabound temple in the previous video. Underneath the stairs, we can hide the fruit of the traveler's tree, which the ninja eventually used to travel back to their own world. But wait, we're still not done because we still need to finish the rest of the palace and the throne room. So we can use these jagged blue pieces for some ice spikes coming out of the emperor's throne room. And now we can build the emperor himself. So it actually turns out that this is Zane, the missing ninja that they've been looking for. He looks really menacing. He looks really cool because he's holding this really nice ice staff. Eventually, I came up with this figure design. It makes use of a lot of interesting techniques, especially at the top. We start off with a regular Zane suit, some ice armor, a half mask. For the samurai helmet, we had some ski goggle masks and a powered up blue translucent piece to kind of add to the ice effect. And then steal a lightsaber from Luke Skywalker to make a cool looking ice staff the Ice Emperor, with this ice blade at the end, and it looks pretty good. It works really well. For the ninja travel home, I do need to remove those white ski goggles which look really out of place and really goofy. Let's just add some finishing touches to our build, like these ice crystal lamps that line the palace. So the sets from this wave use this maroon color as the color of the ice army. We can add these pillars of stone which are in the show itself, and I think with that our ice palace is done. But we're still not done with this video because we need to make one last ninja ally, which is this wolf that Lloyd meets, but he eventually finds out that she's actually a human. It's complicated. Her name is Akita, but I don't have time to explain it here for you right now. Go watch the show if you want to. But we do need to build her because she's a crucial ally in the season. Actually out to get revenge on the Ice Emperor after he freezes her entire family, her entire village solid. The interesting protagonist that makes use of the season. So we can use Griffin Turner's body, which is red and white. We can add a cape, which Akita wears. Or use this headpiece from a CMF figure that has white and red face paint, which I think suits Akita's color scheme perfectly. With sword in hand, she's now ready to take on the Ice Emperor along with Lloyd on his journey. She's one of the fan favorite protagonists, and it's pretty cool because she has interesting motivations. She and Lloyd do eventually get to the palace, but interesting stuff happens there. You should check out the show if you want to. But now, let's check out what we've built in today's video. that's it. We've completed the Ice chapter from Ninjago Season 11 with 3 amazing builds and a ton of custom. Prime Empire is the 12th season of Ninjago, which came out in 2020, and the minifigures were great. They looked absolutely amazing, something I would have loved to see in the original Season 3, and it really felt like the huge untapped potential of Ninjago Rebooted. And because these sets aren't around anymore, I'm gonna build them myself using only parts I already have. Let's see what cool stuff I can build. Will this be a success or the biggest disaster on my channel yet? Let the challenge begin. So this all started when Prime Empire came out back in 2020, and with nothing better to do, I was looking through my LEGO collection and I found this piece right here that looked a lot like this Prime Empire loot box. So I kid you not, I made this improvised Kitana loot box back in 2020 using this round brick and neon laser from a Ninja Turtle set. I was pretty happy with this, and after starting my YouTube career just 2 months ago, I have decided to give Prime Empire another shot. So to begin, let's make some minifigures. The first guy I want to make is Scott, an absolute menace. He's the first guy to get stuck in the Prime Empire video game, and he just looks really cool. So first I'm going to get this generic figure here and take his torso because it's a half open jacket. Next, going to steal some black legs from this policeman so that he can't arrest me if I commit any illegal building techniques later. Now Scott's head is interesting. When the set leaks first came out, lots of people actually thought that Scott was Lloyd because Scott's smiley face looks a lot like Lloyd's.
Great Scott!
So I think I'll try Lloyd's face. And now we need his cap. I'm gonna take this cap from Minifigure Series 3 and put it on Scott. Scott's mask covers most of the bottom half of his face, so instead I'm gonna take the bottom half of the head wrap released in the Ninjago movie, and it looks great. Oh, by the way, movie Zane looks really scary. If you know, you know. Now the more I look at Scott, the more it looks like Lloyd going to a baseball match, so you know what, let's get this Ice Samurai's head instead. Why did I do this? Well, the skin tone is the same as Scott's, and as long as you cover his mouth, it doesn't look scary. Just don't look at the other side. He looks like he just saw Zane turn on his funny switch.
The reason I never had a sense of humor was because my funny switch wasn't on.
And finally, let's give Scott a blaster so he can shoot down some red visors. Alright, Scott is done, so now let's build some other characters in Prime Empire, like Okino. He's this NPC samurai who's really athletic, and he has an entire episode dedicated to his backstory. An interesting thing is that Okino's face is the same as Karloff's face, and guess what? I have Karloff. Also, Turner's torso looks a bit like Okino's, so let's combine these two elemental masters together and make Okino. No, not like that, like this. For his hair, I'm going to use the same technique in my Daddy No Leg video and give a black fang for his hair. And finally, let's give him a sword. This next character is really minor, but he's still someone I can make, so let's do it. Basically, Okino meets this samurai NPC who's way better than him at leading people, who's called Successful Samurai, according to the Ninjago wiki, and his helmet and armor are the same as the Blizzard Samurai from Season 11. So I'm going to take the armor and helmet, get this face from a Ninjago movie general, this generic blue body, and add some dark blue pants from Fusion J, and with a Kitana we now have a successful samurai for Okino to interact with. Someone is obviously missing from this spread, and that's Unagami, the game itself. Now I did think about making him, but he looks really similar to the Skull Sorcerer, which I made in my previous video, so I didn't really want to do something like that again. Instead, let's make Milton Dyer, the one who made Unagami. This is the very first minifigure that I got from this absolutely legendary LEGO City set that actually appears in the LEGO City shorts. And his shirt has the same plaid patterns as Milton Dyer's, so I'm going to use this, and some dark blue pants here with a belt. Milton Dyer has glasses, so here's a head from an Ultra Agents figure, and we can take Emmett's hair to complete it because it has a little tuft at the back, just like Milton Dyer when he was young. He also has a double-sided scared expression like Milton Dyer in the show. So we've got a bunch of characters introduced in Prime Empire itself, but I really want to make a Digi Ninja now. Basically, the ninja in this series are called Digi Ninja, and they have these epic suits with white and their signature color. The closest thing I have in my collection is this racer from Minifigure Series 3. It kind of looks like that actually. I'll take this and make Kai because of the red and white colors on his suit. For his face, I'll just use a generic one because this blue and black face visor here is nowhere to be found in my collection. Just add a head wrap and we're almost done. For the white armor, I wanted to try and make it out of bricks. I tried many designs, including this one using a snot brick and this modified brick with bars extending out, so you can clip these 1x1 plates to look like armor. But it just wasn't working for me, so instead I used some sausage pieces to get an angle, and it looks much better in my opinion. Finally, we can build the floating health bar using this 1x4 tile from the same Ultra Agent set I got noted. And just one more thing I'd like to make is an energy cube, which is what players turn into when they lose all their lives. This is what I came up with, using translucent 1x2 plates in orange and yellow. And our figures are done. Scott Okino, Successful Samurai, Milton Dyer, and Digikai. So let's make a little set to display these figures in. Now after looking at the Prime Empire set wave, I realized there was a problem just like most of the other Ninjago waves. The only thing linking the sets together is the minifigures and collectible katanas. Most of these are vehicles and they would lack unity if we just placed them next to each other without the boxes. This wasn't the case in my previous video. Like with the Shintaro set wave, you could clearly tell this was a Shintaro set even without the minifigures, because all of the sets came with the build that had a stone suspended in a lava puddle, so it was pretty easy for you to come up with a mock idea. But for Prime Empire, well, I'm just going to have to make a place from the show. I asked on my community page for some ideas and we got some great responses, and in the previous video someone commented they'd like to see the gamers market. I thought this would be an easy choice, but all of these are so great that I couldn't decide which one to do, so I've instead decided to just do a Prime Empire series later on. I might do it, I might not, but for this video, I'm just going to build Okino's home, Terra Karana, also the first zone in the Prime Empire game. So we see this place in episode 5 of the series called I Am Okino, and I had to watch the episode in slow motion to figure out where things are placed in this area. So Okino runs out of his house at an angle to these wooden pillars, and then runs another distance before jumping over the arcade cabinet, which leads to the gate to the Forest of Discontent. And later on we see that it is this little distance that Okino runs on that he sticks all of the swords into. So the objective is simple: house, sticks, swords, and arcade cabinet. I'm going to use this base plate with 32 by 32 studs. First off though, I want to build Okino's house because that's probably going to be the biggest build of this mod. Initially I tried to build a minifigure scale house, but it looked really ugly and it would take up too much space on the base plate. And I realized that if I wanted to make a full minifigure scale Okino house, I would need 3 more base plates to accommodate the rest of the build, which I don't have. So instead I decided to improvise and make a micro scale one. Micro builds are really fun because you just really have to choose what details to represent, and every single piece matters. Check out the Cold Earth Driller video I made a while ago, by the way, if you want another micro build. I built Okino's house on 2 2x6 plates connected to form a 4x6 stud space, and for the pillars I used telescope pieces. For the front door I used this illegal building technique with these grill pieces, and it's a good thing that the policeman doesn't have legs anymore so he can't chase us. For the roof curves I connected 2 cones using a short stick in opposite directions so that these 2 slope pieces can be attached in opposite directions. And then I attached it to the roof using 2 jumper plates and a clip. These dark brown slopes are attached at an angle to give the roof more curves, and finally to complete the roof I used these grey modified bricks and 2x3 brown plates. I think it turned out much better than the original house, so now we just need to scale everything else down to match the house. Before that though, we need to build a sandy area so that we know how much space each item should take up. And because I didn't have as many sand bricks as I thought I did, I used lots of plates instead, and I had to resort to this darker sand color too at times. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Okino has some bamboo poles next to his house that he chops up, so I used Technic bricks with holes in the studs to put some sticks in. Next we need the pillars that Okino jumps on, and I'm just going to represent them using brown cylinder bricks. And finally we just need an arcade cabinet. The Empire Temple of Madness set comes with one, and I loosely followed the instructions to get this. Even though it looks quite big considering everything else in this build, I can't be bothered scaling it down, and it's not too big anyway. So we've got Okino's house, the bamboo poles, the pillars, and the arcade cabinet. Also, we need to add a little rock for Okino to meditate on. And speaking of which, let's make a micro scale Okino too. Now we just need to towel some green around the sand and we should be good to go. Finally, let's just add some trees and these grey bricks to represent the swords that Okino sticks into the ground, because I don't have the official Lego dagger pieces. And by the way, I forgot to show you this little play feature I integrated into this diorama. While building, I found this 1x2 brick with a sticker on it, and I hid it here in the diorama. It's like a little power up in the Prime Empire game. Like this would give you fish power up or something, I don't know. And finally, we're done. Comment down below what your favorite part of this video was. We made 5 minifigures and a diorama, all with my little collection of bricks. It's not as spectacular as my build in the previous video. It looks a bit dull, but there's actually a lot that went into this. The micro build house, the arrangement to be as show accurate as possible, and having to play Tetris with Lego bricks to cover up everything with sand. I'm very proud of this and I hope you enjoyed this. In this video, I'm going to build some stuff from Ninjago Season 13 Master of the Mountain because I didn't buy any of these sets when they came out because they were so expensive. And if I were to buy any today, well, they'd be even more expensive. So I'm going to try build stuff from this season myself. Minifigures, weapons, and at the end, I'm even going to be building my own version of a set. Let's go. The Skull Sorcerer is the main villain of this season, and man, he is a great villain. He can fly, he's really strong, and he's just really menacing overall from the looks of him. I want to build him. So let's start from bottom to top, shall we? First, his robes. I think I'll need a brick for this. I'll take it from this tournament set I built for a video a while back, and it looks a lot like a robe. Okay, now we need to get a black torso that has a robe vibe to it. Maybe we could use Cole's Legacy Ninja torso, but it looks too complex. I want to get something simpler given that the robes are just plain black. So I'll use the torso of this foot soldier from Ninja Turtles. Looking pretty good. His wings are simple. I have the exact same pieces from this Ash Attacker from Nexo. Funny, I'm using Nexo pieces again for a Ninjago build. Alright, so we've got the body, the legs, and the wings done, so now we just need the headpiece. This is gonna be hard. See, the Skull Sorcerer wears a mask of sauce over his face, and I don't think this Lego piece exists outside of the sets. I did try a brick built one, but it is way too big. I also thought about using paper, but it didn't seem realistic, and I want to make this pure Lego, so I settled on using this skull head. It matches the original pretty well. The eyes are just black, and the mouth also looks similar. And finally, we just need the hat. I don't have a black one, so I'll just use this red stone army one. Our Skull Sorcerer figure is almost done. We just need 2 more things. First, his weapon. He has a spear, and I'll use the Forbidden Spinjitzu spear for that. One scene I really like is the final battle when the Skull Sorcerer actually jams the bottom end of his spear into the ground, so I'm going to take this little silver fang and attach it with 2 studs with holes stacked on top of each other. The last thing we need to add to the Skull Sorcerer is the Skull of Hazardor. How about this green cylinder? Too thin, too thick, just right. I got this minifigure head from Ultra Agents. And that's it, our Skull Sorcerer is complete. However, he's so menacing now, he's starting to scare the other minifigures in my room, so let's build some ninja. Of course we have to build Cole, he's the focus ninja. Now for the Shintaro set wave, they made a special gold armor piece that I don't have. But the closest thing I have is this golden Chima armor, so let's just take that and put it on Legacy Cole because I don't have any other Cole figures with gold printing on it. And also the head wrap doesn't fit, so let's just give him some hair. Now I'm going to try to build the Blades of Deliverance, the collectibles of this set wave, which Cole uses to defeat the Skull Sorcerer. I have this design with a lightsaber handle and some bricks. Here's one version which is super long, so I'm going to use this shorter version, so it can fit on Cole nicely. I can clip this on Cole's armor, which looks really nice. Now we just add some more bricks so we can fit a throwing star that Cole uses in the final battle, and a shield. Alright, Vangelis finally has a ninja to rival him, and I think my minifigures are safe. But just to be sure, let's make some more ninja. Now I only have 1 golden Chima armor, which means I can only make Kai, Cole, or Zane. I'm going to try Kai. If I put the Chima armor on Kai FS, then it looks pretty similar to the original figure. But I'd rather have Cole, so goodbye Kai. However, what I do have a lot of is Silver ZX armor, and Stone Armor J here looks pretty similar to Hero J, so I'll use this and give him Titanium Zane's head wrap. Okay, I have to admit that I don't have the redesigned J face, so instead of using the old one, I'll just have to use another head I have that has freckles. Looks like this kid has freckles. Oh well, it works because Jay's technically a child in the Wildbrain era, isn't he? Anyway, good thing is I have enough pieces to make Jay's chain mace thing. And finally, our minifigures are done. That was intense and I'm very happy with how they turned out. Now it's time to build a set for these figures. The set wave was very interesting because most sets actually had a game experience. It was essentially a role-playing board game. These tiles were the spaces on the board. You could spin a spinner and it would give you a number from 1 to 3. Then you would move that number of spaces on the board. The aim was to get the Blade of Deliverance and defeat all the villains. Different characters had different abilities and it looks like a really interesting concept, so I want to carry this over in my custom set. Most of the sets were meant to be stone masses in lava puddles, so they mostly have orange plates at the bottom to represent lava. I don't have a lot of these though, this is literally all I have, so instead I'm going to use some orange paper. Also for the game tiles, it's a fairly recent piece, so I only have 2 of them. To make more, I'll get this 1x2 tile and 1x2 plate, and I think I'm all set to get building. After around 2 hours of building, this is what I got. It's been a while since I made a mock and there was a lot of experimenting, so I couldn't really film a linear building process. You can see the starting point here where Jay and Cole can begin. For this angle, I used the building technique with this L-shaped plate. These stone platforms here can actually be adjusted to flow in any direction, so you can change up the board if you want. Then you can slowly move up and make your way to the skull source here. Up here we have the Blade of Deliverance in a rectangular stone of sorts. I used jumper plates to put this 2x3 element in the center of the build. Moving down we have a resting place with the Skull of Hazardeur. I used an illegal building technique here where you insert these grill pieces into the bottom of this 2x2 tile to make it slightly thicker than using a normal 1x1 brick. Some rock detailing on the roof and pillars, and if we go around to the front, here is a snot technique, meaning studs not on top to make some more detailed rock designs. And of course we have a transition to the lava. I'm really proud of this, but there are a few more things I want to add. First, let's add some torches so it's not so dark. I have these brown telescope pieces and fire elements. Also, I want to make a gong.
Sound the gong! Sound the gong!
We also need a jail cell. I have these brown elements from the titanium dragon and they work well. And finally, just some more touch up to the floor with these grey elements to make it look less monotonous. I really enjoyed this, and it's really cool having something like a Shintaro set right in front of me without needing to spend any money. This is probably the longest I've ever spent on making a video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. Comment. In this video, we're gonna build Ninjago Seabound without spending any money, taking only parts from my existing collection. It's set underwater and there's a lot of different things we can build, so this will be fun. Let the challenge begin. First off, let's build some of the Scuba Ninja. Because they go underwater, they have oxygen tanks. I have these two Lego City firefighters with oxygen tanks on their back, so I'll use them. I can also take this blue oxygen tank from Benny from the Lego movie, and the armor piece from this Ninjago movie general that comes with an oxygen tank. We got 4 oxygen tanks, which is perfect because 4 ninja go underwater: Nia, Jay, Zayn, and Lloyd. Now let's start with Lloyd. I'm gonna take this Nexonite guy's pants and helmet, and then get Kanan's torso piece. It looks a bit like the core suit, but I think it works for a scuba suit too. Then I'll replace the metal thing on the helmet with a motorcycle helmet, face visor, and give Lloyd a yellow oxygen tank. Also, here are 2 pillow mints.
Pillow mint? The most refreshing mint of them all.
This pillow mint is round and this pillow mint is square, but let's just give Lloyd both to make Lloyd happy. Next, let's make Zayn. I'll use a Stormtrooper suit and the Ninjago movie armor piece. Add movie Zayn's face because I don't have a silver one, and give him a white motorcycle helmet. For Jay, I'll just take his Hands of Time suit, which is apparently the fusion armor, and it covers most of his torso, so let's roll with it. Give him the blue oxygen tank because Jay is blue, and give him the black helmet because I don't have a blue one. I tried Benny's helmet, but it looks weird. Finally, we need to make Nia. I have these 2 figures from Nexonites and Galaxy Squad with light blue Azure designs that could both work. For the torso, I'll take the Galaxy Squad one because the other has lots of orange and just looks too armored. And for the legs, I'll take the Nexonite's legs. Give her some oxygen tanks and the blue helmet from the Galaxy Squad guy. And also let's give her some Spinjitzu so that she can turn into water and make Jay sad. Our 4 Scuba Ninja are done, and let's just give them some accessories. Here's a grappling hook because Nia saves Dareth with a grappling hook in the show, and here's the actual blaster piece that Lego used in the sets. But I only have one of them from the Lego movie, so let's give it to Zayn because we don't want to make movie Zayn unhappy, do we? For Lloyd and Jay, they appear in the same shot, both using blasters here, so I want to give them the same designs. Now our Scuba Ninja are complete, and just for fun, here's Kai and Cole with some custom Season 11 weapons I made. Now we have to make Kalma the main villain of this season, who has 5 legs. He's very strange, and that's bad because it looks like I'm going to have to build my own purple legs then. I found this strange Lego piece with a 1x2 base and 3 bars at angles. If you get 3 1x2 purple plates and add 1x1 clips, you can attach them to look like his legs. I also have this 1x2 tile with a bar on both sides, so we can add Karma's last 2 legs. Now we can add these slopes to complete it. For his body, I'm gonna take this Anaconda torso because it's purple, then slap on some gold Shima armor, and now I have a really great idea for his face. Remember the Ninjago movie journal we took the armor from earlier? His headpiece is purple, like Kalma's head, and it has eyes, like Kalma, and a mouth, like Kalma. And Kalma is done. Let's just give him a golden trident to complete it. Alright, that was fun, and I think it's time to build a custom set to showcase all our new minifigures. I want to make the Temple of Wojira, but it's known as the Temple of the Endless Sea in the sets. Anyway, there are lots of inaccurate things about this, so I want to improve it and make my own version. Let's go. Alright, so first I want to build the big gate at the front, then this little walking distance and the pool of jellyfish that charges Wojira. So I started with the layout, and then I started piling up rocks with lots of slopes everywhere. For the long section, I tried to be super detailed with the rock designs, and I decided to add some plants inside the rocks just for fun. The slopes and details were nice, and so I began covering up the areas on top. Then I moved on to build the structure of the big archway, and then began the 2 giant Kalma statues at the entrance of the temple. It was really challenging, and I had to use some clever building techniques for the face and legs because there are lots of angles on this thing. And that really made me tired, so I decided to take a break to make a micro-scale version of Lloyd's Hydramech just for fun. That was done and it looked pretty good, so I began work on the pool. There was some more rock detailing required, but for the water itself, I used these blue window panes and a sideways building technique. There's also a connection point here with a Technic pin to connect to the previous build. I finished up the walls of the pool and added some transitioning around it, but I was tired, so I called it a day. It's day 2 and I'm ready to keep building, and actually I forgot to show this yesterday, but if you lift up the stairs at the front, there's a jade blade underneath because we love jade blades. The pool was looking bland, so I added chi pieces with 2 studs stacked on top all around, and then I made a weapon rack with this 1x4 tile and 1x1 bricks with clips. I actually discovered that you can fit bars in between the clips, so that's interesting. Then I made one of those water interface computers with this little 1x1 tile with double-sided stud connections to sandwich a window pane on its side to represent the water interface. I also made a worn-down front gate with brown bar pieces. It was looking pretty good, but I really wanted to improve the front of the build because it looked so plain, so I took out a ton of black slopes and began building. Then I got some blue pieces to represent the glowing blue things at the front of the temple. And I'm really happy with how it looks. It greatly improved the build. Then I added some black bricks to the sides to make the temple look less monotonous. It's day 3 and I plan to finish this mock, so I got started on the final section of the build, Wojira. I built a pillar of sorts and then made Wojira's head with these angled pieces. There are 2 round plates on Wojira's head for the amulets, and I replaced one with a blue plate to represent the wave amulet. The weird blue things on Wojira's heads are represented by these water pieces, and I used golden fangs for the horns. I attached it to the main build with a bendy stick I got from a Technic set. Like in the show, Wojira can draw energy from the pool, and it was great. I also made a random side build with some plants, and then did some transitioning between the sand and the water. Added some plants to the front of the build, and it was finally done. There are 2 extra features I want to show you. Up here there's like a platform you can stand on. If you lift these up, there's some secret storage space. Here's a lamp. And also these 3 sections can be taken apart and interchanged. You can flip the pool section around or remove it entirely if you want to. I think it's a pretty cool feature. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed making this mock. It's my biggest one so far. This video is actually a collaboration with Kalido Productions, who has designed printable to scale PDFs of the scuba ninja suits, so you can print them to stick on your figures. Go check out his videos, link below. The next episode of Build Ninja is on Crystalized, and if you really don't want to miss it, or any other cool LEGO things I'm planned to release, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, stay creative, and keep on building. Have a good day. Ninjago Crystalized brought back a lot of things from previous seasons of Ninjago. Old characters, old relics, and old locations, like the Oni Temple from 7 seasons ago. So in this video I'm going to be making a ton of custom minifigures and recreating scenes from the Crystal Temple before trying to combine it all into one giant mock. But the catch is I can't spend any money on new parts. Do I have what it takes, or will this end in disaster? Let's find out. Ninjago Crystalized was meant to be the grand finale of Ninjago since 2011, so they intended to bring back as many ninja allies and villains as possible. So in this video we're going to try and build as many custom figures as we can. In Crystalized, the Overlord sends Harumi to recruit villains to form the Council of the Crystal King. So let's make Harumi first. I have this lady from Ninja Turtles with some purple on her torso, so I'll use that. And for the face I've got this evil looking one from a generic minifigure. For her hair I'll take this brown one because the shaping is similar to the original, even though the color is different. Just give her a sword and we're done. I still don't understand how her sword is immune to Oni power. Now I have no idea where he came from, but Mr. E from Season 8 was rebuilt after being destroyed in Season 9.
Mr. E?
Mr. F. He's the new model. Unfortunately, he still doesn't talk.
I made Mr. E in the very first video on my channel actually, so we can bring him back, but just change his outfit to be more black. And let's give him a crystal blaster too. This next guy I want to make technically isn't a villain, but he held a place on the council for a short time, and that's Lloyd. I mean, he disguised himself as the mechanic, and I want to make Lloyd in this suit. So I took Legacy Kai's torso and some grey pants. I got a mustache from a Lego Movie Robot Sheriff, Lloyd's face and a bowler hat from an Ultra Agents villain, and the figure is done. For the robot arm, I got a 1x1 brick and just put it on Lloyd's hand and attached a cone. Comment down below if this is illegal, I have no clue. And yes, this is the figure on the trailer thumbnail. I've been planning this since the beginning.
So we've got our villain figures done, and now it's time to recreate the meeting room where the Crystal Council first meets.
In the clip, they sit around a 6-sided table, so I angled the pieces with 1x1 studs. In the middle, there's a pedestal for the crystal spike, and these little pink wedges represent the crystals around it. Also, just for some detail, I've added the archway in the background. I made a mini version of every member of the council, including Pythor, Harumi, Vangelis, and Asphira. For Vangelis, his mask is just a modified 1x1 plate, and Asphira's body is a double-sided snot brick. Now we just need to make the Overlord himself, also known as the Crystal King in this season. He has 4 arms, and the only upper torso piece I have is from General Kozu, but it's red. So let's just go with this red color scheme, and I'll take Kai FS because he has gold arms, and just switch out the legs with Kozu's. This villain from Nexo Knights has a scary red face, and then I added Kozu's red helmet and attached a glizzy/sausage piece to the helmet, and then attached some horns. From the back it really looks like the Crystal King, and I'm very happy with this. Big brain moves right there. So we've got all our villains, and now it's time to make some of the good guys. Ronin and Skylord both return, and since I made them in previous videos, I'll just take them from there too. I can also bring back the Prime Empire figures from an earlier video. Scott, Okino, and Milton died. This brings back so many good memories. We've got the allies, but we don't have the ninja themselves, so let's do this the TD Bricks way. Cue the music. We have the 5 Ninja and Samurai X. I used any minifigures I could for the Ninja to make this unified team and gave them their custom weapons. And for Samurai X, I used Nia's Hands of Time suit and some generic samurai pieces. Now the first part of the season is about tracking down a Vengestone buyer, and it's actually Harumi who has been making a Vengestone army. So let's make the giant room that contains the Vengestone army. I used 1x1 bricks and cones, yellow studs and black wedge pieces. Looks pretty menacing to me. In Ninjago Crystalized, Garmadon teaches Lloyd how to activate Oni form and grow 2 arms. I really want to make them, but I already used my double torso for the Overlord.
And give in to your rage. Then channel it through your face.
So for Garmadon, I'll take 2 generic black bodies and get a translucent 1x2 brick because it doesn't have a support pillar inside like a regular brick. I'll add some wings, a face, and some Oni horns using the same glizzy trick for the helmet. I'll do the exact same for Lloyd, but because the green brick looks weird, I'll cover it with a bracket and Nexo Knight shield. For the head, I'll use the glizzy trick again, but attach it to Lloyd's head using a 1x1 golden clip. They look pretty ugly, but I've got no other options. And finally, all our figures are done. And my desk is really messy. This is probably the biggest group of minifigures I've ever done for a video. Lloyd is pretty mad at Harumi though, so let's make the scene where Lloyd unleashes Oni power for the first time. There's a lava pool, some raised platforms, and a jail cell for Lloyd. I made a micro Harumi and a micro Lloyd too that can fit in the jail cell. So we finished our 3 micro builds, and now it's time to combine our 3 crystal temple scenes into one giant mock. I wanted to make like a structure to stack everything, so I made a base, then some pillars, and then secured it with Technic beams. I repeated this for each level: base, pillars, Technic beams, base, pillars, Technic beams. I was able to hang Lloyd's jail cell from the top, and this thing is just really satisfying to look at. Then I wanted to start making the exterior, but then that's when things really started getting messy. I made the giant Oni mask at the front, but it went terribly. It didn't look that great. I tried again and it was a slight improvement, but still not accurate at all. I got so fed up that I started the base of the temple, and then I suddenly realized I wouldn't have enough parts to finish it. So now it's time to start over. This is the Crystal Temple, and in the last video I tried building one but failed miserably. So today we're going to try again by scaling it down and focusing on detail. Will this be a success, or will I fail again? Let's find out. We're going to start with the base because every build needs a good foundation. I'm going to connect these 4 Technic beams with some angular bricks, and then I'll attach some plates to the side using some snot bricks. And then stagger tons of small dark and light grey bricks upwards to make these sloped walls of the temple. So we're off to a good start, and one thing I'm really proud of is attaching this grey slope piece at the halfway point underneath, and then staggering the upper stud with a jumper plate to make it look slightly more recessed into the wall than the other bricks.
Wow.
Okay, but now it's time to build the part of the temple that gave me the most nightmares in the previous video, the face. See, what was so hard last time was getting it to look 3-dimensional because I was building it way too flat. So this time I'm going to start with the eyes using these curvy pieces sandwiched together by these small double-sided plates. And I'll add this pink jumper plate with a stud slightly recessed in the eye. Next, to sort of angle the eyes downwards, I'll make use of the angle on this handlebar piece. Now I'll get these big grey pieces for the forehead, and then I'll use this strange piece for the nose and use some grey hinge pieces to make a curved mouth shape. Okay, so the face already looks like a major improvement from the previous draft. Wait, who's that? Kai, why are you wearing the green ninja suit? You're not supposed to do that. Anyway, I still think the eyes are too high above the nose, but we can fix that later after we figure out how to incorporate this thing into the main temple build. Right, so we've incorporated the face into the main build and I lowered the eyes. It's coming together really nicely, so now we just need to cover up all this ugly empty space around the face. It looks really cool from underneath, like a Minecraft cave. The rock detailing is really nice, and we can also add a roof with some small pieces to continue that texture, as well as the giant crystal found at the top of the temple with some golden circle pieces. We're pretty much done with the top half of the temple, but before we move on to the base, there's something we need to do, and that requires a lot of red bricks. Now, I haven't shown this on the channel before, but I keep all my Lego boxes in this big box here, and while I was trying to get the red box out, it just exploded. So I'm gonna need a while to clean this up and get the pieces I need. Now it's time for the fun part. Oh, I also found this bag of broken brown pieces. But enough messing around, because we're going to use these red bricks to reinforce the inside of the temple because it's really weak at the moment, and that's bad. These red bricks will help to strengthen it. Oh, and I also found this little red present brick. Looks pretty nice. It feels a lot stronger now, but now onto these large plates I attached at the side of the build, which you've probably noticed for a while. These go in quite nicely, and well, they're actually for finishing off the base, which is much larger than the top of the temple. So we can just flick all of them off and begin to make 3 towers with each side. Now it's time to attach our 3 side plates to the main build. It actually looks really good right now, but it's time to move on to the base of the temple. It's this really jagged pointy thing, so I'm going to take a wheel off Cole's earth driller and use this. Hey, what's up, Cole? I'll also get the pillar from this Forbidden Spinjitzu set and take the base. And I'll add this cone in another cone, and then this little silver driller piece. Next, we need some bigger pieces to sort of transition the top of the temple to the current assembly we have. So I'll take these pieces from the Garmatron and then make this thick curved plate. Now we just need to attach this upside down to the bottom of the temple. I've got this bar which will extend across the underside of the crystal temple. I need this to have double-sided stud connections, so I'm going to take this bracket, get this long plate, hold it there, add this 2x2 tie. Now it fits exactly, you see I can do this. And that should hold the plates. Yes, it does work, so my math was right. So now I'll just do that for the other side. I'll add that, add the 2x2. You can see now we've pretty much got a double-sided plate. We just need to kind of secure it here because this has nothing connecting it. And there we can use this double-sided plate for attaching the base. Hopefully this fits. It's really hard getting the right angle. Oh, I got it. I got it. It fits. It actually fits. And I guess the overall shape is complete. Only problem is to stand it upright on my table, I have to take off the pointy thing, and that really stresses the bottom. So I'm going to take some Technic beams and make a little display stand that we can suspend the temple from. I'm much more confident about the stability of the build now. It's also really heavy. But we're still not done yet, and there are a few more things we need to do. This probably wasn't such a good idea. There's Lego wall over the floor now. Basically, we need to add some green to the build because the temple actually rises out of the ground after a few thousand years, so lots of vegetation has grown on it. So now we also need to add some crystal shards around the walls, so I'll use these pink bricks. It's time for the last one. Also, I don't know why I did this, but I just decided I wanted to... But I just thought of putting some flowers back here. I don't know why. It looks so colorful right now. It feels wrong. Finally, here's a microscale Lloyd in his golden suit. And here's a small evil mech design I came up with that can fit the Lloyd we just made. Here's Garmadon in the same scale with a clip for his horns.
You're hurt.
I can't.
It's okay. Don't try to toss me.
Sorry, Lloyd.
Hold on. You'll be okay. I'll get you out of here.
Save yourself. It's too late for me.
Oh, and my friend Ross asked me to make a penguin, so I guess here's one. At this point, I was really running out of pieces, so I got what I could to make a crystal king. Doesn't look very good, but it's the best I could do with the pieces left. And I guess that finishes it. That was definitely a challenge, and I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the last episode of BuildNinja Season 2, but don't worry because I'm planning Season 3. They're going to be 4 episodes, you can find them in the description, but they won't come out so soon because I need to do some planning. But in the meantime, I've got some really juicy content coming your way. In the next video, we'll be building scrapped Ninjago concepts in Lego, so see you then, and subscribe so you don't miss it. See you next time, stay creative and keep on building.